welcome to episode 8 of Big Bad Bodybuilding. I am your host, Zack Barnard. With me, as always, my co-host, Dennis the Big Bad Wolf. I want to invite you to go check out Dennis's new supplement line, Nutrition Wolf, at nutritionwolf.com, where you will find all of these nutritional products that will be making their debut here in just a few weeks at the Arnold Expo in Columbus, Ohio. Dennis, good to see that you're back in the desert and that you're doing well. Why don't you tell us about your week, and then please introduce our very special guest.
Hey, Zack. Hope you're doing well. Hello, everyone. Yes, last week was amazing. Spent some great quality time with the guest family. And it's always great to see old rivals. And they became friends today, and also what Michael Johansson is putting on for the community is just amazing, and it's a great thing to be a part of the family. And but I was freezing. It was so cold in Texas. I didn't know that during the winter it's so typical European weather, like Germany weather. So it was like really cold to me. So when I came back to Las Vegas, it was like almost 70s. That was
I think you've
nice after
you've just been in Vegas too long, man. You've been spoiled with Vegas,
I'm used to that,
weather.
Bro.
That's what it is.
So yes, and welcome to our 8th episode, and I would like to welcome our special guest today, Wesley Vissers. Welcome, my friend, and I would just like to ask you right away, how's the prep is going and how you feel?
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been amazing to be part of this podcast for sure. Thank you for inviting me. And so I'm in the prep for the Arnold Classic Ohio, which I'm very happy about. The last time I did it was 2019, which is now a long time ago already. So 5 years ago. So the prep is going very well. We're about 4 weeks out right now. And since this competition is pretty close to the last one I did, which was Romania in November, I didn't really have an off season, which you could say would be a disadvantage because you can't improve. But at the same time, you also can't really get out of shape. So now I can actually get in an even better conditioning compared to all the other competitions. And I think we are going to go do just that. So very exciting.
Awesome.
Well, Wesley, first off, congratulations on your Romania Pro win. Those of you guys that don't know, that does qualify you for the Olympia this year, which is exciting. Tell me, does that kind of give you a sense of relief going into the Arnold, or does that change your prep at all in any way getting ready for that? And did you think twice about doing it or not doing it because you have that qualification?
Well, the funny thing is, of course, the qualification is very nice to have because now you can focus on the competitions that you want to do and not the ones that you need to do to qualify. So it's nice that I'm going to do the Olympia no matter what. But I already decided to do the Arnold even before I did the Olympia because I was at the Olympia and then I was asked there, actually, do you want to do the Arnold Classic? And I've been thinking about that for a longer time. And my coach also told me if there's any competition out there you should do, it's the Arnold Classic because, they call me the Dutch Oak. I can do a lot of Arnold's poses, and Arnold himself is getting older. And before he can't, for example, join the competition himself anymore, or he can't really award the prizes, I still want to be a big part of that when he's still a very active role at the Arnold Classic itself. So I think these years are very special in bodybuilding, and I'm very thrilled to be part of of both Arnold Classics actually. Because the UK will also be one I'm doing.
That's great to hear. We're glad that you're going to be there. Dennis, Wesley placed an all-time best 7th place at the Mr. Olympia last year. I think Wesley, he has a very unique structure compared to the other competitors in the top 10. Dennis, what do you think is that unique, and what makes Wesley unique and stand out in that top 10? And because he is different, and a taller athlete other than maybe Bumstead, do you think the fact that of his specific build, does that hinder him in moving up because there's less guys that look like him, or do you think that's an advantage for him going into shows? I mean, obviously Olympia, but even the Arnold.
All right. So I think Wesley is extremely underrated bodybuilder or classic physique athlete. he has a special physique. I think that's the closest to the Arnold, his physique, what you can find right now anywhere. And I think Wesley looks a little bit um, maybe so the muscles maybe have more volume compared to the rest, but also the development is completely different. So if you look at his shoulders, right? So how fine the details are and all these striations, you don't see it on any classic athlete. So those specialities, I think that's a very strong point. But I don't know why in the last few shows, like before you won the Romania Pro, they kind of didn't put you up, into the top. I didn't understand that. But I think for me, as a, just my opinion, just for myself, because, I've been in this business a long time. I think you're one of the best classic athlete physiques, or you have one of the best classic athlete physiques, which can you really compare to, 70s, 80s classic physiques. So, and this is a big strong point. But I don't know what was not fitting the judging structure or so. But I think you figured it out. You look complete right now, like in the last, compared to the last show than a couple of years ago. So I think you just kind of needed that maturity, to get higher into the rankings. That's it. But I think now you have one of the best chances to be in the top. So I don't know how you yourself see, your rivals, where you put yourself, and what is your mindset, going into the Arnold, knowing that you can beat everyone there.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much for those kind words, because it means a lot coming from somebody who's done the Arnold Classic and Olympia multiple times. And I've always been a fan of your own physique, very dominant, and the incredible lab. Yeah, that's always been a good example for me. But yes, I agree with you that there are, if I look at my physique objectively, I can see some things that other people don't have, like you mentioned, the shoulders and certain body parts that have still details that are kind of being blurred in other competitors. And I think I just want to present the most possible quality in my physique I can. And, honestly, it's all about literally sculpting the physique in the gym. That's the result that you see in my physique, in my opinion, because I've always believed that if you really go into the muscle, mind-muscle connection, nowadays it might not agree with science as much, but I still believe if you truly feel that muscle, make it burn, squeeze it very hard, year after year after year, you will carve out those details literally, and they show on your physique. So I think that's a big difference. And also, like you mentioned, classic physique, the name says it already, classic. So it should be kind of like the 70s, 80s. But the judges also kind of veered away from it a little bit by rewarding guys that are more like aesthetically pleasing, with a bigger X frame, like with the legs, having bigger legs, having like even rewarding guys who actually have a more dominant leg body part compared to the upper body. And so some guys who beat me, I have a far more dominant upper body, but their legs are so good that they're placed ahead of me, even though that's literally the opposite of classic bodybuilding, basically. So that's what I spent years on improving. Like behind you, you can see on your Arnold trophy, you can see Arnold's upper body and his legs, the difference there. And right now, my legs are comparatively bigger than they were before, compared to the upper body, because that's simply needed nowadays. So from the front and from the side, I do think I can hang with pretty much anybody in classic physique. But I do realize that from the back, like my upper body is good, but the lower body, because it just takes so long to fill in those gaps if you're tall, like the adductor gap and the glutes themselves and the hamstrings, That's, I think, the biggest difference between me and like a Ramon, for example, or an Urs, because they have those huge lower bodies, basically, which are difficult to match. But then again, my upper body might give me an edge. So it's all about the preference of what a true classic physique is. And I have focused a lot on the glutes because that's the biggest change that I see compared if I compare myself to the rest. So even though my classic physique started, it wasn't about the glutes because the trunks literally hit everything, including the glutes. So you couldn't even see them. But during the years of development of classic physique, they put the trunks more higher and higher and higher until you actually saw the glutes. And now you, of course, when you see something, you gotta present it to the best of your ability. So for me, it's all about getting the conditioning in the glutes right and having the size there. And I think once that happens, and it's already a lot better now compared to the last competition, I think then I can really hang with the very best in the field. So with this Arnold Classic coming up, I see myself battling in the top three for sure, and not just being in the top three, but actually battling, and the people and the judges doubting, okay, it's not just Ramon who's going to win for sure. We got to actually compare this guy with Wesley because it's pretty closer than we thought. And that is my goal to achieve at this Arnold Classic, that it's truly a battle and not just, okay, Ramon is going to win and let's just compare the other guys for fun. No, it's got to be a real battle for sure.
Wesley, man, those are great points. Because one of my questions
Absolutely.
I've been dying to ask you is what is classic to you? And you explained it great. And I think I love the way you talked about how, classic was their legs were not overpowering and they had the larger upper body. And that's what you've built, man. So, I mean, congratulations on that. But now it's like the judges aren't necessarily, rewarding that as the winners. And I mean, I remember a few years ago, and then the Olympia, the guy kind of came out of nowhere. He has huge legs, right? That was kind of his dominant body part, and I believe he placed 5th that year. I'm not really sure why he hasn't been back to Olympia.
Yeah, Branch.
The shorter Branch, something, yes,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yes,
And I mean, really,
exactly.
all he had was legs. I mean, not to discount his physique, but his legs that was it. I mean, his upper body wasn't near your size, right? And they rewarded that. And to me, like, that wasn't classic. So I can see how it would definitely be frustrating for a guy like yourself because, for the definition, obviously all the comparisons that you mentioned to Arnold, I mean, that's what you're bringing to the stage. So you definitely define classic in my eyes because I was telling Dennis one of our first episodes that I'm tired of it just being like a tiny waist competition. There's so much more to classic than that. Yeah. And you defined it perfect, man. I really like the way you mentioned that, but and I do agree with you. If you get your lower, half as hard as those other guys, I think you can battle the top with them because it's kind of just turned into a weight cap bodybuilding, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what you need to do. Is that what the judges is that their feedback is just to get the lower body harder? Is that what they're telling you?
Well, to be totally the very first Olympia, one of the judges told me, you have everything to win except the conditioning. That's literally what they told me. So, and it was in the elevator at the Orleans Hotel, and I happened to be with the judge in the elevator, and he told me that I didn't even ask anything. He said it out of the blue. So they want me to achieve like that level of conditioning that the winner of classic physique competitions show, because I think even though my physique might look more classic, if you're not as conditioned as they're used to now, it's not going to be easy to let me win. Because some people will always be able to point out, oh, his glutes or his hamstrings aren't as conditioned, so why is he winning? But just like you say, it has become a weight cap bodybuilding class where you're just trying to fill out as much as possible below your weight cap and be as and you're forced then to be as conditioned as possible to be able to showcase more muscle. So automatically that's just what's going to happen if the sport evolves a couple of years and the same guys keep competing. After a few years you hit your weight cap, and the only way to improve is to get on stage more conditioned and with more muscle. And that's the trick to really then still stay classic. And that's what I'm trying to do for sure.
Dennis, last week we were talking about Wesley's physique, and I had mentioned to you that I personally would like to see him. Now, it could, take him away from the classic look, but I would like to see his body filled out to the max and be an open competitor. But you kind of you turned around and said that's probably not the best idea for Wesley. Can you explain to me and tell Wesley why you think that? And then Wesley, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And I'm sure you can explain to me why you're in the class you are. But yeah, just kind of talk about that, Dennis.
I think like he already explained it, and just perfectly. The definition for classic physique, there's no standard, right? And I think Wesley is the closest athlete who can like picture all of the classic physique, right? So how it should look. So, and you were right with the legs were looking different back in the days, all of that, and just look at Arnold, So I mean, it's like the flawless structure, but the legs were a little bit downsized compared to what you see on stage today, right? But especially Wesley, his physique, I don't think that would be a good thing to do. Just move up, gain weight on something like that. Just to be in the open class. I don't think it's gonna work for him because he's just the perfection. He just needs to kind of figure it out, bring the whole package just perfect. Like you mentioned, condition is the strong point in it, and if already the judges telling you got everything to win, just a little bit more condition will be just we'll be putting you up there. So I mean, that's the way to go. And like I said, there's nobody who has that crazy detail like everywhere, except maybe legs, hamstrings and all that. But like you said, I agree on that. Classic is something different than bodybuilding. It should be also separated, because I think classic is not just like a bodybuilder who just lose some weight just to make the weight, and he's like a classic athlete. No, I think you're you have the best physique for that, and that will be just too stupid to do something else. You just fit so well in this class, and I don't believe you will be more successful in the open class. One thing, because it takes years, and also not just building all this mass, but also being competitive on stage. It takes you a lot of time. And in classic physique, you're up there, you start winning your shows, and I think you'll be very dangerous this year's Arnold. And everybody is talking about, of course, Ramon. He was runner-up at the Olympia, but until we see everyone on stage, the show is not won. So yeah, I'm very excited to see that battle, and I believe that's gonna be a battle.
Yeah,
Wesley, what do you think about his thoughts on that? You're staying in classic?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you're right, Dennis. If I would go to the open class, being as tall as I am, I would first of all need to gain so much mass that it will take me years before I'm even competitive. And, I also look at my own lifestyle, like even apart from my preference, like I have 2 children, I have a family, I want to be able to be active with them and just be, play soccer outside or football or games. And I think even now, sometimes that's difficult. Just imagine with like 20 extra kilos on me or something. That's just going to be impossible. And I'm already eating quite a lot. So I think the classic, you can still relatively be healthy. I still, everything comes back all right. But we all know that for the open class, you got to push it just a bit harder. And you never know what the outcome will be from that. But also, right now, I've already won quite a lot of competitions in Classic. I'm number 7 in the world. I'm invited to the Arnold Classic. I mean, I am right up there at the top. So why not give it everything I've got to truly get to the number 1 spot one day? And I'm 30, so I'm still in my prime. I've been training for about 16 years in total, and only the last few years I have the feeling I'm truly making that progress to be one of the best in the class. And there's still room to grow, there's still room to go. So yeah, it's not like I'm at the end of my career and I'm still, trying to edge out little details. There's still a lot left. So, I feel good, no injuries. I've never really had an injury or anything. Health is good. So there's still a lot to be achieved in this class. And I love to see how it evolves. And maybe I can be a part of the evolution of the new standard. Who knows? So I'm just going to really do my best here.
I love that. I love your answer. I especially love that you touched on the health and the family aspect, because I think a lot of people lose track of that, and envisioning something big or catastrophic has to happen for you to realize that. But I think your priorities are in order. And like I said, would I love to see 20, 30 pounds on you? Sure. But that's me looking through an Instagram. That's not me knowing you as a person. That's not what's right for you. And you made a great point about how successful you've been in the Classic Physique division already. And it has taken you a few years to finally, I think, start placing where you deserve. But you're climbing, man. I mean, congratulations on that. And you did mention about how there's room to grow. I did want to bring up the point. I did see your last video. I watched it. I saw you doing some inversion table work there. Why don't you tell us a little bit? We had Michael DeBull on. He was our second guest. And I'm a big fan of his as well. I love his conditioning. I know you guys are going to be right there.
Yeah.
I mean, in my ideal world, you guys would be 1-2 and beat out those other 3 guys that have been ahead of you. And I'm hoping that's what happens, man. But he did mention about this new height end rule that's going to apply this year. Why don't you tell us a little about that and kind of how you're taking that in for years to come and how you're approaching the season?
Yeah, so there will be a new height system where the height will be permanent, which is, it saves so much stress for a lot of the athletes, especially for someone like me, because officially I am 6'3", but I'm often measured at 6'2.5", which puts me in a lower weight class, which is 247 pounds, or 49 pounds now, actually, with the increase of the weight cap, or 112.9 kilos. But if I'm just half an inch taller, which I have been measured a couple of times as well, I'm allowed to weigh 3.4 kilos more. That's like 8 pounds. So for me, that height is very important. So if I just put a little bit of effort into the inversion table, which is literally hanging upside down, decompressing the spine, and therefore you're taller, just like if you would be laying down all night, you're taller in the morning. But when you work out, you walk around, the spine compresses and you might be half an inch shorter, which exactly is what you want to prevent when they measure you at the competition. So about half of the time I'm 6'3", and the other half I'm 6'2.5". So I never want to have that doubt again. And of course, for the rest of my career, it would be incredible to actually be allowed to weigh like well in the 250 plus pound range instead of below it. So that gives me so much more room to grow. That will transform my physique for sure. Because right now, I already am about 3 kilos below that weight limit. So just imagine how much I can then gain. I can gain about 7 to 8 pounds of pure muscle, and then I'm still 1 month out.
And that's not easy to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's not easy to do, but that change will be incredible. Then I can actually use 1 year to truly get into a good off season again, to put on that mass, knowing that I can when the height is set in stone. And then I can make an even bigger difference, because right now I'm choosing to do multiple competitions because I'm very close to the weight limit anyway. So it's not like I need a whole year to prepare for another show, because what can I really do? So I can only improve my presentation and my conditioning in between shows, but not really put on pounds of mass, really. So what I, of course, am using the inversion table for is when they announce which show they will start the measuring at, because I think they will do 3 measurements and take the average of those 3, and that's just going to be your height forever. So I'm even thinking about just literally either purchasing or taking the table with me to the show.
Yeah.
And then in the
I mean, this
room,
affects your whole career, right?
yeah,
So why not,
but
man? Or buy one when you get there, right? You
yeah,
know, I'll meet you at the Arnold and I'll take it home with me. So, you know, you can just buy
yeah,
it there and I'll drive it home. You know, it's funny. Michael is in the exact same boat. Obviously, he's not your height, but he's having the same exact issue. And we talked about that. And in fact, will one of these heights be in effect in the Arnold? Will that be like one of your measurements that
I
they're
don't
going to
know.
take for the three?
I,
You
uh,
don't know
I,
yet.
I don't
Okay.
think they've announced which show they will start it at. Either
Oh,
they will
wow.
announce it or they will actually just do it at random. I'm not sure, but I don't think they will do it randomly because I think they do want to give everybody a fair shot at reaching their
Yeah,
maximum
it should
potential.
be the first of the season, right? I mean, because I know Michael, it was funny because he was literally like, I'm going to pick the shows that I know we weigh in the morning or that we do the
Yeah,
heights in the morning. And he was like, I
yeah,
know the Arnold does that. And
yeah.
he was like, I'm not going to do the shows where they do the meeting at night. And I was like, well, this guy's got it all figured out, man, right? So,
That's smart.
yeah, that's a big deal. So he was like planning his whole season around it, man.
Yeah, and apart from that, I mean, why shouldn't the weigh-in always be in the morning? I mean, that's your true body
Right,
weight
right.
instead of body weight plus food and water. Otherwise, and
Sure.
even if you wait all day and not eat anything, it's going to be your depleted body, which won't look as good on stage. So if you want the best bodies on stage, always weigh in the morning and then allow the athlete to present their best self by actually peaking and loading the correct way instead of because even if they announce, for example, okay, we're gonna weigh in at like 6 p.m., it's not gonna be 6 p.m. It's gonna be 8 for sure, for sure. So, but because you're afraid, you will take your meal with you to eat after, but you'll be sitting there for like 3 hours. You're fasting, not able to drink or eat because you don't know for sure if you're gonna make weight. So it
Right.
puts a lot of strain on the athlete's mental and physical ability to present their best self. So, but I think the pro league is really doing their best to make that better because they do listen, but I can imagine it being difficult with multiple classes, sometimes amateurs and professionals, to really balance that out in terms of how late everybody is got to register. So I know it's difficult, but I do think for everybody who has a weight limit, they should be put priority first in the morning.
Yeah,
I
and I mean
agree with that
that's
for
a
sure.
right. It's long overdue. I mean, you know, because I think when you're trying to make that weight class, I mean, you need to know which one you're going to be in, right? And it totally changes the whole
Yeah,
last week of prep. And I point I made too. I think it's a safety issue too. You know, because you're not doing anything
yeah,
crazy to like go
that's
up or
true.
down or anything like that. Man, one thing I
Yeah.
have to ask you about on that video, Wesley, before we move on. So at the end of that, you were finishing off your daily steps on a treadmill that looked like maybe your kids would use it. And it was funny because it was right next to the toys. So I got to ask you, in all honesty, do you really use that treadmill? Dude, Dennis, this thing is maybe 2 feet wide. And Wesley's 6'3" in his bathrobe. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen, man. So, Wesley, how many steps a day are you getting on the mini treadmill?
Well, it's actually in the Netherlands, like Dennis mentioned before, like just like in Germany, sometimes the weather is just horrible outside. It's either freezing or raining or windy or just you don't want to, if you still have 2,000 steps to go, you don't want to put on a jacket and gloves and get all ready to go outside. So I actually did get that treadmill because you can put it under the couch because it's so small. You can just hide it out of sight, so it doesn't ruin your living room. And you can get it really quickly. And when you're walking in front of the TV, the time flies by very quickly, and you can still spend time with your girlfriend at the same time because it's like otherwise I would need to go outside and she's alone. And this actually works out pretty well. And yes, it is very small, but it's actually made to withstand 120 kilos of
Oh,
weight.
wow.
So
Okay.
that's like
All right.
260
Touche
pounds or
then,
something.
man.
Yeah.
That's
So
just
it's and
Wow,
I,
that's
I
impressive.
use it.
Okay.
I use it for a few weeks now, and it's still working nice, smoothly, silently. So I actually recommended it to a lot of my Dutch followers to use it as
All
well
right.
because I think
Well, I
uh,
see they sponsor you, right? So, man, you gotta, it's good to hear that you're actually using it, and
yeah, yeah,
hopefully they're getting their investment off of that.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love it.
You gotta
Wesley,
do what you gotta
you've
do,
had
huh?
your
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
true.
Um, How long have you been on YouTube now, Wesley? You've 6 years, 8 years, something like that?
I think 8 years now. Yeah, 2016.
Wow.
That's when I started. Yeah.
All right. And were you pro at that time? And you turned pro
No,
yet?
I actually was
Okay.
a local Dutch bodybuilder, and the first video I made, I was preparing for the Dutch nationals. I
Oh,
remember.
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen you've grown that thing up to 500,000 subscribers now and
Oh,
almost
wow.
700 videos. So that's Dennis Wolf TV. We need to pick up the pace, man. Wesley's, he's 10 years younger than you and got about, 500 more videos, I think. So we need to pick that up. What
Man, hey,
was saying,
the
man?
times are different than 10, 20 years ago. So, you can't compare it. It's just another life, it's totally uncomparable what we are used to do and how we used to make money and how we, proceed in the sports. And then, I mean, social media started in 2000, 12, 13, 14, something like that, like hitting everyone. So look, 10 years later, oh my God. I mean, they're multi-millionaires, which, are younger than, I mean, some kids who are just started reading and talking, they make millions of dollars from YouTube and stuff like that, or from Instagram. I mean, it's fantastic. Why not? I mean, if you up to it and you can do it, and you have a lot of things you can teach, all of that, or bring something to the community which is good and useful. It's always gonna work out, but like I said, you have to invest a lot of time in it, and yeah, it's like everything else in your life. So without putting the hard work in, no time, I mean, it's not gonna work out anyway. So yeah, it's all work, it's not like I'm saying, oh, okay, it's easy if you're young and do these things, but it's all work, it's all time. Yeah.
Man, one thing I will say about Wesley's videos, and I've watched several over the years, but man, the amount of detail in the explanation that you give of everything you do is very impressive. A lot of these guys, they'll get on there, hey, this is what I'm eating. And, some of them may put the calories up, some may not, and do their training. But like, even his training, I mean, Wesley goes in and explains why he's doing it. I mean, why he's eating this, what's in it. I mean, it's impressive, man. I learn something every time, I watch one of your videos. So, I mean, props to you on that, man. Really taking the time and putting out good information. Where
Yeah,
did you
the
get your like
useful
nutrition?
information, what you actually
Yeah.
need. This
Did
is
you
this is awesome.
did you have a degree in that, Wesley, or did you go to school for that, or you just pick this up by just over time and just in the gym and what that kind of thing, or what's your educational background in that?
Yeah, I already was very interested in nutrition, for sure. Nutrition was one of my bigger interests, and I was actually looking in the Netherlands for an education that matched my interest in nutrition. It was actually nutrition and dietetics. So I finished that education. So officially, I'm a sports dietitian here in the Netherlands, which is an official title, which I'm quite proud of. So next to being a bodybuilder, I can actually showcase that, hey, I'm scientifically literate within the nutrition world. So that's nice to have. But honestly, most of my knowledge comes from looking things up myself, doing the research, and of course, coaching other people and my own experiences, what works and what doesn't. And I'm just very interested in like the little details of like adding black pepper. What does it do for your health, or turmeric or ginger or spices and herbs that people don't even think about? When you add them, they actually add some health benefits or even bodybuilding benefits that you don't even realize. Like a lot of people, for example, know cinnamon, which is delicious to put on your oatmeal or even like an apple pie. But at the same time, it's also good for insulin sensitivity. So it actually drops your blood sugar. So it's little things like that that can motivate you to eat in a healthier and more delicious way, which is why I love to tell people about it, because a lot of people don't know this. And if you do know it, you might be more prompted to actually live that way yourself and be more healthy and automatically enjoy it more and get more out of it. So through the years, you just put that stuff online and you notice that people love hearing it. And yeah, that's really where it came from.
Awesome.
Dennis, in your competition days, would you attempt, if you could go back now? I mean, obviously, you know, there's probably a monetary benefit to it, but do you think you could do what Wesley does, or would you even want to attempt that? I mean, I'm talking following, you know, a step from the moment you wake up, your training, to you know, walking in a bathrobe at night before you go to bed. Is that something you would have taken on back in your day, Dennis, or no?
No, in my days, that would be impossible. I mean, I wouldn't even think about it because it's all you.
Well, I'm
I
saying
mean,
if it was there, right?
yeah,
If
but
it was an option, would you have done
there
it?
was
I mean, that's
no
a lot of work.
platform. I mean, there was no platform. So you will say like, okay, I'll show everything to my fans. You know, I take him on my journey and all that. What we did back in the days were filming DVD, you know. So, but that will probably include some, most of it training, and then maybe a little bit of nutrition. But it's mostly what you just eat, you know, during the day. But you will explain like you know, all of that, you know. So it was different. Like I said before, if the times where like when we had all the social media around us, we will probably do that too, but you know, it wasn't. So that's why I cannot tell, you know, I will do it too, you know, because it's not comparable. So the time back then was just, you know, you do your thing, you push yourself, and you know, all this distraction, like somebody wants to film you or you need to film yourself, that will be not even thinkable of, you know. So totally different life, you know, compared to even what I do now, like social media. Like I'm not doing a lot, but still, you kind of feel like, oh man, you have to show something, right? You have to let your fans know what you're up to, what you're doing, you know. So, but back then there was no thought about that. You were focused on, you know, on your next goal, right? So it was like your seasons, your shows. So if you were in an off season, your goal were get as big as possible to push through whole off season as you know, as strong as you can. Same as you know, prepping for the shows. So there was no more. I mean, there was no even an idea to tell anyone what to do. So it's totally different life, like I said.
It is. It's a different time. Wesley, with your ties to Arnold and how much you looked up to him and how much we see him in your physique, what would winning the Arnold Classic mean to you?
Wow, that honestly would be an actual dream come true. Like that will be incredible.
And do you look at that? Is that right up there with Olympia? I mean, would that mean as much to you as an Olympia?
Honestly, yes, because it's Arnold's competition. So with all the years behind me of people comparing me to Arnold and calling me the Dutch Oak, it's like it's meant to be that the Arnold Classic is my show to eventually win. And I truly believe it's possible. Not just saying that because you gotta believe that you win or you don't compete, but I really believe it's possible. And it would be such an amazing achievement. It would make a lot of things, yeah, just it's like a stamp of approval of your whole career. Like it will be like a pinnacle of everything I've achieved up until this moment. And to have Arnold himself, you know, reach out and give the trophy, that's just incredible to me. And also, like a dream would be that he himself would recognize himself within me just a little bit. If he would say that, you know, that would be yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
have you got to meet Arnold? Have you gotten to meet Arnold before and visit with him or no?
And not really meet, but at the 2019 Arnold Classic, he was there in the room with all the athletes doing the athletes registration, but it was like an intro to the Arnold Classic. So that was the first time I saw him in real life. I was actually pretty close to him. So, but I've never really talked to him face to face, which of course is still something I want to achieve.
That's gonna change this year. I think it's gonna change this year.
We need Arnold, when he gets out down there in the front row and he gets
Yeah.
his phone and does the selfie video. If he
Can you
does that with
imagine
you,
that?
I'm watching his face.
Yeah.
Wesley probably wouldn't be able to handle it, man.
Yeah,
But
that's
I think if Arnold's gonna sees you on stage, you'll be amazed because I mean, you really look alike. I mean, if you're a step far away, you even like I mean, even in like all like the head and everything will fit, right? Everything is just
yes.
you fit just perfect in that. And like I said, there's no one whom can you can compare to Arnold that good. I mean, you're just like look alike. It's amazing, and I think he's gonna recognize that. And I think after that, some things are gonna change for you,
Yeah.
positive way, for very positive way.
Yeah.
Dennis, you did win. You were lucky enough to win. Not lucky, but you put in your work. You did win an Arnold title. What does that title mean to you? And did it change your career? Did it skyrocket you, or how were things after that win for you?
Like Wesley says, that was a dream come true for me. Like it is for Wesley to win the show. That was the same thinking. I remember. So I wasn't kind of looking forward to win the Olympia because I knew that's very very tough, and the Arnold was more like already for me, like I knew this is like the things to the thing to do, and I could win it. This is like I was at that level where I will say like I don't care, I'm gonna win it, and I want to win it. So then basically I did it after three starts. So two times Branch beat me, so I ended up being runner up. So and then I took a year off and won the show. So where you put so winning the Arnold puts you in the top position. Winning the biggest show, of course, in the world, is the Olympia. So and back in the days, there was always meant to be like, hey, if you're a winner of the Arnold, you'll be up there 6 months later, in Las Vegas, battling for the title. And that's how it was, So and I think like for Wesley, that's gonna be also a big jump, So and then it means so much to me, even talking to Arnold. Of course, my brain was on fire and I didn't know what to say. I was so excited, after winning. So I probably did, say some stupid stuff, things, when Arnold was asking me. But if you're nervous a little bit, it's fine, I think. But after that, we kind of get more into talking every time I saw Arnold, and we were speaking in German. That's pretty cool because Arnold, back in the days, he wasn't very much talking in German, mostly English, So, but later on, he will see me and will already, start the conversation in German. So, yeah, like I said, that's gonna put you in a top position after winning the Arnold. So, and that's what it did to me too.
That's awesome.
All right. Yep. We're looking forward to it, man.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And I really think, I mean, I like Ramon. I like his physique. He's very impressive. But I think, Wesley is going to be up there this year because all of these extraordinary details he has and also the flow. So we were always asking, like, the last few years, what exactly classic physique means. So, and like I said before, there's no standard. But to me, how Wesley explained it, that's, I totally agree. That's probably the way to look at the classic physique. That's how it should be. That's, in my opinion, classic physique.
I love it. All right, let's finish. Let's have a little bit of fun, and then we'll let you guys go. Gone a little long for most of our podcasts. This is such a good conversation, though, man. This is great.
Absolutely,
right,
I enjoyed that, man.
Another new game. All right, Dennis. Last week we had what did I call it? Meathead trivia. This week we're gonna call it bodybuilding diaries. All right. So this one, we're going to go 5 questions. I'm going to let each of you guys answer. You're going to give me 30 seconds to explain your answer to my question, and I get the opportunity to say which answer I like the better. All right, so I'm gonna call the winner on each one. There's 5 questions, so we're definitely gonna have a winner. All right, Wesley, you're the guest. We're gonna let you go first. What's the most weight you have ever gained in a 48-hour period after a show, and what did you consume during those 2 days?
Oh, I think I'm gonna lose this one because
I didn't eat anything, did you?
I do, but usually, okay, a lot of places where I did my competitions, they have a cheesecake factory. So
Okay.
me, from being from the Netherlands, that's a very special place to go to, and the name says it, Cheesecake Factory. But I always like to go for every possible item on the menu, like, okay, starter first, then the main, then the dessert. But you try to leave some space for the dessert. And the problem is, my girlfriend also buys a cheesecake, but she can never finish it. So I have the starter,
Take it
I
and eat
finish it. I finish the main. She doesn't finish her main, so I finish hers. And then we go to the cheesecake. Then I, of course, look at which one has the most calories out of each slice. That's the one I choose. And then she chooses one she likes. But then I eat my slice and I eat half of her. And then I'm pretty full after that. It's like hard to walk afterwards. But even then, I only gain like 4 kilos in total, maybe, over those 2 days. So I drank an enormous amount of water also after the show. So that flushes it out a little bit, but that's pretty much the most extreme that I go to.
Okay, well, I want to hear Dennis's answer because I've got you beat, Wesley. When I was a teenager, I put on 20 pounds in 24 hours, and I think I did 30. I put on 35 pounds in 1 week, and I was 19. Wow. And I remember because my wife, my girlfriend then, we had gone the next weekend. I was going to do the Texas Championship teenagers, and I won that one. At the time, you had to win your novice to go to open, so I won that. So I was like, I'm done. And I ate, and my ankles were so swollen. And I remember going because we got there, and we had to go to Walmart because I had to buy new clothes because the clothes that I brought didn't fit me anymore after a week. It was embarrassing, and I didn't know anything. I mean, there's no telling what my blood pressure was. I mean, it was so probably unsafe, but I was 19. This was a long time ago. Anyway, Dennis, I bet you probably weight-wise, you probably still have me beat. Let's hear your story.
Well, actually, in the 48 hours, I haven't gained so much weight after eating because I was still burning this all off,
Your metabolism, you're probably,
yes.
Yeah.
But
okay,
if I'll be eating for 1 week, then like after 72 hours or so, that starts kind of hanging on me, right? So the water,
that's where you hit the window, and then
is crazy and all that. So, but the first 2 days there were nothing. So I'll eat like crazy, but I'm still will woke up in the morning and like no weight gains, So, but after a week, I will say, yeah, that will be around 6 to 8 kilos. Possible, yes. If I will continue to eat the whole week like I want to,
Right. Well, okay. Good answers. With the amount of detail that Wesley gave, I'm going to give that point to Wesley. I liked. He knew exactly what he ate or what he's going to eat in Columbus. Well, I guess he's got the second one coming up, so you probably won't get to go too crazy. But all right. Good answers. All right, number 2, Wesley, where is the strangest or most awkward place you have ever stripped down and started hitting poses? Was it?
Well,
I know maybe it's your younger days, but I'm sure there was somewhere you're like, let's go right here.
Well, it's not really that strange, but whenever I go shopping with my girlfriend, and obviously you try out new clothes, the best lighting ever is going to be in a fitting room, in a changing room,
the dressing room. Okay, yeah, I can relate.
We usually go in that room together when it's big enough.
All right.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be kinky, but the only thing that I do is check out my own physique in the mirror just to see, wow, the detail is still here.
I love it. I love the honesty.
And you look just so much better in that lighting. It's just incredible.
Okay. All right. I was thinking more of a public place where you just started, everybody wanted you to hit poses, but that answer was fantastic. All right, Dennis, what do you have for us?
Well, I know what Wesley means. If you walk into a big supermarket, and so I remember that in Germany there are like big mirrors, right? So you walk in, you see yourself, right? Today those are the cameras right now. Back in the days, they were mirrors. So you'll be walking in and like, damn, you'll be just checking on you as long as you see yourself in the mirror, right? So that's what I remember. But public place, I don't know. I mean, look, if you're running around with carrying 300 pounds, you don't need to hit any pause in a in the public, so you get attention anyways. So
Right. I'm thinking more like when you're in shape, maybe you have a lot of fans, maybe at an expo or something like that, and you're just kind of like almost forced to strip down even though you don't want to. I'm sure that's probably happened
Oh
to you
yeah,
guys before.
yeah.
well, I
But
mean, if I've been traveling for years, and sometimes, yeah, I mean, if you're walking to the town or so, I mean, but I will, people ask and look at you, and maybe like back in the days when I was young, like they will ask to touch their arm and bicep, but I don't remember really like stripping down and just hitting a couple of poses. So I was probably not that, you know I think like, hey, people look at me anyway. So when I start eating double biceps here, the whole freaking marketplace will be
Yeah,
full. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
right. All right, we'll move on from that one. But I'm sorry, Dennis, but point number 2 goes to
I'm
Wesley
losing
too for
again. What
taking
the hell?
taking his girlfriend into the dressing room. That's
I
pretty
mean,
hard
yeah,
to
nothing
trump
can
right
beat
there.
that. Yes, of course.
All right, Dennis, why don't you answer this one first for us on this one? Boy, and I got a feeling I know who's going to win this one as well. What's the longest you have ever gone without a cheat meal during prep? How long have you gone without nothing, just straight, whatever your plan was? Or, I mean, a lot of people have planned refeeds, things like that. But at what point in your career do you remember one where you went the whole time without a cheat meal, or is it a weekly deal for you, or
Yeah, it was mostly a
is
weekly
it just not
deal.
that bad? You don't do
Only
that.
the first 3-4 weeks in my diet when I started it, that was no cheat meal, cheat day, whatever. But after that, as soon as the metabolism was catching up, man, I had to kind of refeed myself weekly. So, and I think that's what I learned. How to deal with my metabolism, with my body, how it works. I needed to refill because I tried, harder diets. It didn't work. So basically, back in the days when I was amateur, of course, there were no cheat meals like that or something like that, but I don't even remember how good I was. But when I started like doing it professionally, there was most of the time were cheat meals included. Yeah.
All right, Wesley, let's hear it. I'm fully expecting you to say 2 years, two,
Yeah.
2 months and 14 hours or whatever. But yeah, I want to hear your honest answer. But nothing will shock me at this point.
Yeah, so in 2022, I was preparing for the Arnold Classic UK, the first time I was going to do that competition. And, the first few weeks went pretty quickly, but there were no cheats needed because, you're still pretty filled up from the off season. But after a while, my weight started to stall because apparently my coach told me I have like an adaptive metabolism. So it adapts up, but it also adapts down. So the less I eat, the less I seem to burn or lose weight. So at one point, I had to do 90 minutes of cardio a day, 1,800 calories, of which like
Yeah,
300 plus is
God,
protein. So that's really not much in terms of other macros. And
1,800 at what, 250? Were you 240, 240 at
yeah,
the
yeah,
time?
250 plus.
1,800
And
calories.
around 13,000 steps on top of those 90 minutes of cardio. So it was like all day you were very active and the food was incredible. Basically no carbs. Like even my breakfast, which normally is the only meal that has a bit of carbs because it's the pre-workout meal, turned into like an omelet with maybe one egg if I was lucky.
Yeah.
So just to make a long story short, it was like 16 weeks with no no cheat meal at all, like nothing, just one
Wow, that's
linear.
just
Only when I
a
when I
whole
started,
prep.
yeah, pretty much the whole prep. Maybe I had one refeed, but it wasn't a complete refeed. It was like 200 grams of carbs extra just to get the
Right.
fatigue down a little bit.
Right, but that's not a
But
cheat meal. But dude,
no,
1800. I've been to 1800. That is not a place I want to go again. I mean,
no, no.
that is, and I'm sure 30 pounds lighter than than you were. But that's 1800 is barely alive, man.
Yeah,
So
and somehow I still kept my fullness at the show, so we weren't worried about
uh,
muscle loss, but I needed to be
freak,
more conditioned. So,
yeah,
but luckily
yeah,
from that point forward, my metabolism seemed to have improved, so I can eat a bit more now.
awesome, great story, man. Uh, God, man, I hate to keep giving Wesley points here, man. I feel like
I'm not a sore loser. Don't worry about me.
okay, all right. Let me think on that one. Let's see if you can come back right here, Dennis. The strangest food you ever used to carb up with.
Ah, mm, uh, uh, it
Come on, I
was
know there's a
called
Milo story.
back in the days. It was
I'm.
what?
I said there's got to be a Milo story coming right here. I was just
Oh, no,
trying
I
to
mean
throw you.
that's of course. I mean it's Milo story. Everybody knows it. Like 5,000 grams of carbs over 2 days. But back in the days when I was amateur, there were a way to carb up with fruit bread. So it's like you bake a bread with some fruits, right? So it's a lot. It has a lot of carbs, but also, I mean, it's a lot of gas. If you use it for carb up, so you just it's in and out. So it's just working. All whole digestion is just going on another level. So but. I tried once, but it's scary thing to do, because in the beginning you get like smooth, and then 8 hours later you just start, all of that you've been eating starts sucking in everything, all the fluids. So and then you get drier. But like I said, it's uncomfortable feeling if you're have to gas all the time and stuff like that. But like I said, there was experimental thing. It worked. But like I said, later on, I was just coming up with the products I already knew and I had in my system over 10, 12 weeks, so it would be rice or something like that.
That's always the safe bet.
Yeah.
All right, Wesley, what are the Dutch cooking up over there that you're carving up with?
Yeah, literally a Dutch thing because it was my very first competition, so the least experienced I've ever been. And I had a coach back then who also was not that experienced. We both did the same show together, so that's also really a good combination. But
it sounds like it might have been a sabotage, is what this is sounding like.
well, I did the juniors. And he did the super heavyweights. So we weren't competing against each other. He was actually a very nice guy. But we drove there with his van, and little did I know that the back of his van was like filled with different pies and cakes, like a bakery. So we went outside and we said, okay, it's time to carb up. And it was a 2-day show also. So we opened up the back of his van and it was like Dutch apple pie, like custard pie, like all these different kinds of pies. And he just gave me a slice of each. And I just had to eat it. But the problem is, back then, the old school mindset of no water was also still present. So no water, but like half a pie. And then I also had to eat dried fruits, like dried pineapple, because supposedly of the enzyme breaking down the protein, and dried apple as well. But just like Dennis, there were so much fiber in there, in the dried fruits, that without water, you're like constipated and gassy. And, even though the loading up wasn't as supposed to go, I still won the competition. So I can't really blame him for it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Man, that was question 5. Dennis, I think that might have been a clean sweep. I think he may have taken you right there.
All right.
That's all right. But I enjoyed both your answers. So Wesley, we will be at the Arnold. We're going to be doing some live interviews, the podcast. have a booth for Nutrition Wolf, please come by and see us. I know maybe you may not have time before, but I believe you guys wrap up on Friday, right? Is it the prejudging and the finals on Friday?
Yeah, it's kind of strange actually. It's the only show that I know that does everything on Friday, at least for our class. So that's actually quite nice to still have the weekend and the expo then after the competition.
Yes, and you can come by and give us an interview, right? Bring your championship trophy by.
I'll do my best. Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Absolutely, because I know Michael the Bull is going to come by, so maybe we can get both of you guys to
that would be great.
Give us a rundown.
That would be very cool. Yes, definitely.
That would be awesome. And I'll bring you a shirt that says "I slayed the wolf" because you just took him 5 for 5 on the questions.
What the hell? Well,
Wesley,
last episode I won against Keon, so
you took Keon out.
That
was bodybuilding history.
Losing to one of the best classic physiques. It's good. No worries.
That's true.
Wesley, when are you headed to the States? Are you going to come in early and train there for a week, or just right before the show?
The 25th of February, I'll be there. So about a week before. I normally, if I was alone, I would go 2 weeks in advance, but I have a family, so I don't want to spend too much time away from the children, and I don't really need that much time before, to be honest. I've done it enough times to know how my body reacts to jet lag and stuff, and it doesn't really bother me as much. And I never hold water from the flight anyway. I actually lose weight from flying, so
everybody's kind of one way or the other.
Everybody is afraid of that. But actually, like back to my days when I was competing, I will land. Of course, you feel different, and then the next morning, you're actually lighter than you were, were boarding the flight.
Whole prep. Yeah, exactly.
Well, interesting. Well, we'll see you there. I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's going to conclude our show for today, guys. We made it an hour. Wow. Thank you, Wesley, for sticking around. I'm sure you missed like 2 meals and a cardio session in there. So we'll let you get back to it. Guys, be sure to subscribe to DennisWolfTV.com on YouTube. Check us out and follow Wesley and check out his Vintage Genetics on YouTube. Let's get him up to 1 million subscribers on that so he can get one of those cool little gold things that he can put up in his gym. And follow us at Big Bad Bodybuilding _ and of course at Nutrition _Wolf, and check out Dennis's new nutrition line, Nutrition Wolf. Guys, we will see you next time. Wesley, thank you again. Dennis, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely my pleasure. Wesley, thank you very much. All the best for the rest of the prep, and we'll be watching live.
Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna do my best for you guys.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Yeah. All right.
See you.